All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here on BCP Plus with a very special guest, a friend of the show here, someone I've been wanting to talk to ahead of some big time matches and ahead of a marquee 2025. Of course, he's a former ISPW Heavyweight Champion. We'll talk about that. A former Pro Wrestling Magic Heavyweight Champion, a former Pro Wrestling Magic Tag Team Champion, Dark Arts Champion. The list goes on and on and on. The one and only, the Revolver, my good friend, Mr. Alex Reiman. Round of applause. How are you, my friend? Good to see you, sir.
Thank you for having me, man. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Lots to talk about, man. And you have had a roller coaster of a 2025, man, and you've dealt with some highs and some lows, some marquee title wins, some of the highlights of your career, really connecting with the fans, with the rise for the Revolver, that whole thing. And you've also experienced some loss with family. And even stuff with professional wrestling and career and dealing with the indies, which I know firsthand is not always linear or easy. Sometimes it's the wild, wild west. Just at the end of 2025 here, where are you physically, emotionally, and mentally right now?
Right now I'm in a good place, physically, emotionally, and mentally. It has been a roller coaster of a year. Earlier this year, I had a week from hell, basically. All within 1 week, I lost a very close friend of mine to addiction. He was a friend of mine throughout high school, throughout into our adult years and stuff like that. We kind of drifted apart, because I became so busy and everything, and our lives just kind of didn't parallel each other anymore. But I lost him. And then literally 3-4 days later, within 24 hours, both of my grandfathers were diagnosed with cancer. And then a few months later, on my dad's side, we lost my grandfather. And it was tough. The first half of this year was incredibly tough. And dealing with a lot of loss this year personally. But then professionally, through ISPW and Pro Wrestling Magic and other places like WrestlePro, it's been one of the best years of my life professionally. I got the opportunity to go and wrestle overseas as well, in Germany and in Italy. First time in Italy, so that was an amazing experience for Pro Wrestling Roma. And also doing European Pro Wrestling in Germany. I'm hoping to go back with both companies next year.
Man, and what a roller coaster. Thank you for sharing all that. Also, reach for the Revolver. I apologize. There's a whole lot of wrestling. I'm confusing you with Aaron Judge, and I know you're not a Yankees guy, but
baseball, and that's another heartbreak in itself, man. I'm a Mets fan. Man. It's been a tough week for us Mets fans, man. You know it's bad when I go into a locker room and the Yankee fans who usually clown me look at me and just shake their head and say, you know what? I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, it's like that, man. I get it. But you know what? You live and die with your team, man. And I respect that. You get one team and one team only. So I respect that, Alex. But let's get into the weeds here, man. I told you off air, I really want to get into it with you. We're not hard hitting here, Alex. I toss a lot of softballs. I know we're going to move tickets. We're going to get butts and seats. We're going to talk shop in a little bit, man. But I had a few hard hitters for you.
Please, I'm an open book.
I appreciate that, man. Feel free to no comment, man.
That would be great.
You're all good, man. Your phone's intimidated, as am I. Alex, I'll ask you this one, man. Pro Wrestling Magic, you and I have formed what I like to call a relationship. Obviously co-workers, but really just a great rapport. And I appreciate everything you've done for me to make me feel welcome, part of the team, add some creativity to the things we were able to do together. And you are our 2023 BCP Plus promo of that year, man. It's just fantastic work telling stories. Your feud with Sean Donovan 2024 was epic. I mean, just, man, what a ride it's been. But there was an exit from Pro Wrestling Magic. Whatever you're willing to share on this, because you have returned. I think from being an outsider looking in, I could see some of the things that maybe you were unhappy with, some of the curveballs that were thrown at you, perhaps creative, perhaps people going into business for themselves, perhaps other frustrations. And to me, you know, when it's people I care about, you know, obviously I date a wrestler, but you know, when people, you know, kind of call audibles or go into business for themselves, I feel that you know, affects safety, that affects storyline, it affects trust. And to me, trust is the most important thing when you guys are trusting each other with your lives, your bodies, the moves. I'm not a wrestler, but I care about a lot of you guys. I consider you a friend. And to me, I could sense your frustrations. It's not an indictment of people or one person, but to me, just from being an outsider looking in for anybody, when that stuff happens, and I've seen it a few times this year, you know, it's hit close to home a few times. It really, it concerns me, man. And I could see your frustrations, just anything you're willing to share on the Pro Wrestling Magic exit and the return.
Yeah, so I don't think I've ever stated anything publicly about why I left for a little bit, and I think I do owe it to the fans of Pro Wrestling Magic, the Kingdom there, of why I did step away for a little bit. Pro wrestling is the only thing in this life that I think I truly love. It's been there since day one for me. Pro wrestling has always been my safety net, my go-to, my, you know, sanctuary, my home away from home. And with that said, it's something that I take incredibly serious, sometimes almost to a fault, where I want the pieces to make sense. I want everything that I do to fall in line. And that, you know, I reap the benefits of that through my work with Dan Moff in 2023, Absolutely. My work with Sean Donovan in 2024. And I'm going to just say this right now. I'm a Pro Wrestling Magic original. I was there literally since day one. I think the only one on the everyday roster there besides Steve Off that's literally been there since day one is me. I was there when we were wrestling in Bogota in front of 12 people, to the building in Wallington that Ace had, to Ridgefield Park, the Mecca, and now carrying it on to East Rutherford at the YMCA this Saturday. I've truly been there through all the ups and downs, through name changes and everything. And I truly cared about that place. And unfortunately, I think that sometimes those in power care too much about being friends with the locker room rather than coworkers or bosses. And I think that sometimes when you have an inability to say no to certain things, it dilutes your product and, you know, makes something that, you know, at the end of the day, this is a business, you know, and when things start to, and now if you want to dilute your business, that's fine. But when it starts to chip away at the work I've done and make a mockery of what I've done, you know, and me and this individual, we patched things up. You know, we shook hands and we acknowledged, you know, neither one of us were 100% right. And he believed the way he did was right. And I believed in what I said was right. And there was an issue with me and one of the other roster members who I felt stepped on what I did with Sean Donovan. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing. I don't like Sean. Me and him have a very personal animosity towards each other. I think that came out a lot in our work. So I took a chance every time I went in the ring with him to not get hurt. And I put my body on the line through going through barbed wire and tables and chairs and stuff like that with him, because, you know, I truly thought it was best for what Pro Wrestling Magic needed. And I felt like some people in that locker room were kind of stepping on that legacy that I created. And I tried to talk to them about it, but it felt like after a while, I felt like I was yelling into a void. And as I said, this is my sanctuary, my safety, my, you know, everything. And I remember me, Lugosi, and Danny are sitting in the locker room, and I just looked around, and I said to Lugosi, I said, this doesn't feel like home anymore. This isn't the place I love. This isn't the place that I remember. And I'm looking at, you know, all these, new faces, which is good, but like it's almost like Pro Wrestling Magic had forgotten what it was. And it was very disheartening to me. And, I had been on top for 449 days, and I felt like the quick turnaround of when I lost that championship to what it is in the months that followed, I felt like it was time for me to step away and let the kingdom miss me and let those in power miss what they had. It's the old saying, how can I miss you if you won't go away? In 10 years, I missed 2 Pro Wrestling Magic shows. One because of a prior booking commitment to the day. I think the show got moved. It was supposed to be the fourth Saturday or Sunday, and it got moved to second, and I had a booking. And the other was because I was going to Germany in 2020.
Good
so
reason.
In 10 years, I missed 2 Pro Wrestling Magic shows. And I said it was time for me to step away and, let somebody else carry the ball and see if that company can sink or swim without me. And in the 5 months that I missed away from Pro Wrestling Magic, the amount of outpour of messages from the fans there asking when I'll be back, telling me it's not the same. And, I have the screenshots to prove it. Not just the fans, but the boys in the back were asking me, telling me it doesn't feel like home anymore. This, we need you back. And then management started to see that when I wasn't there, there was the glue that held everything together wasn't there. And I know that sounds very conceited and very cocky, but I think I've earned the right to say things like that because in my time there, no one's touched what I've done. 2-time tag champion, defended them in England. Dark Arts champion, defended in Germany. Longest reigning and defending heavyweight champion, defended that in Canada twice. Main evented the first 2 stadium shows there. I truly take what I've done there, and I think I'm allowed to be confident in what I've done because I don't think anybody's come close. There's a lot of people that think they have, but there's nobody in the same ballpark in that company.
Dude, thank you for sharing all that. It's like that girlfriend that you break up with or breaks up with you, and then a couple weeks go by, and it's like, oh man, like he was awesome.
Yeah. And like I even touched upon it in my promo after I wrestled Javi. And like what's funny is like here I'm coming back to Pro Wrestling Magic after 5 months. And I said to Lugosi, kind of like joking, but in a way I was serious. I was like, what if no one cares?
No.
Like there's always that worry, that creeping thought of what if I've been forgotten? And as soon as my music hit and I cut through that curtain, the outpouring of love and the shock and awe of my return was amazing. And, after that match with Javi, which was an incredible match, I had a lot of fun working with him. I hope I get the opportunity to do it again. But I said, sometimes you have to leave because you don't feel like those around you respect what you've done. And when I left, I feel like it left a giant hole in that company.
It's almost like you said, you don't know what you have till it's gone. It's almost like you're taken for granted. And yeah. I can say this, and not just because you're a buddy of mine, Alex, and I respect you, but also there is a void without Alex Reiman in Pro Wrestling Magic, and you were a draw. People buy tickets to see Alex Reiman, and that's no discredit to anyone else. It's a team effort, but a couple of those butts and a couple of those seats, more than a couple, are there for Alex Reiman. And I'm a metrics and I'm an analytics guy, and that's how I feel about that.
You can go back on IWTV and see that for yourself. Look at the month I left, and then look at the months after. There's a lot of empty seats. But now that I'm back, we're selling back out.
Well, it's great to see you back, Alex. And again, we're going to get the shameless promo in for 1 second. We want to see you guys at Pro Wrestling Magic. I believe it's this Saturday. So we'll talk
Kingdom
about
Come
that in a little
10.
bit. That's it. And I'll tell you this, Alex, I thought for many reasons, some of them you kind of alluded to here already on this podcast. I thought you going straight for that heavyweight championship. I know that meant a lot to you. Again, you've made that a world championship, Alex. But again, even though you left, you got to come back. You got to start at the back of the line. But this is this is no consolation prize. Alex, I told you personally, I was very excited for this match. And this is a matchup between the Revolver Alex Reiman and the All-Father Darius Carter, a marquee match, potential match of the year, no pressure. Alex, again, Saturday, December 20th. It's going to be at the Meadowlands YMCA 390 Murray Hill Parkway in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Doors are at 3, bell time 4 o'clock. This match is sponsored by the incredible Inside Heat. We got to say some nice things about your pop and doing some great things for me as well. And we'll talk about your family in a little bit. 2025 keys to the kingdom here, man. Kingdom Come 10 Christmas Vacation. Alex, this has the potential, and everyone's gonna be stepping it up. And I know everyone's hyped for this show. I think tickets are moving really, really well, as they should. There's gonna be a lot of eyes on this one, a lot of pressure. I think I asked you if this ever happened. I don't think it's happened one-on-one, but how you feeling about this one, Alex?
The only time this match has ever happened one-on-one was for Warriors of Wrestling for one of their tapings. So it was in front of, just the boys. And I was still Game Changer Aaron Bradley. So this match has never happened one-on-one in front of a live audience. And Darius said something that, honestly, it pissed me off.
Wow.
He said that I was protected from him. It's not my fault that when I was champion, he left. I backed down from no challenge. I've been protected from absolutely no one. I stood in there when I was champion, and I faced everyone. Whether it was giants like Wrecking Ball Legursky or Kerr, legends like Crowbar, legends like Dan Moff, or bloody brawls with Sean Donovan, legends like Azrael, you name them, I've defeated them. There's my list of defeated opponents during that title run is a literal who's who of independent wrestlers on the East Coast. Dustin Waller, Sonny Kiss, CPA, Dan Moff, Crowbar, Wrecking Ball Legursky, Bruno, Tella, Felipe, everyone. I backed down from nobody. It's not my fault he took his ball and went home. If he was there, I would have knocked him out too. It's a fun fact. JVD of the Front Row Mafia pointed this out. In 3 straight Kingdom Comes, I will have wrestled Dan Moff, Sean Donovan, and Darius Carter.
Wow.
The entire Card Subject to Change podcast.
Wow. That's a great stat, man. And I'll ask you, you talk about the emotion, the mentality, some of the things Darius has said, but and I say this respectfully, Alex, I think Darius is one of the best. He's been our
absolutely
rest of the year. And you have the respect for him, but how do you prepare? We're talking about the physical aspect. How do you prepare physically? Do you study tape? How do you prepare for this match physically and for in between the ropes?
Absolutely. I study everything. And I've had the privilege to watch Darius work in person. I know exactly what he's capable of. There's not a facet of his game that I haven't studied. And we have a lot of like-minded idols growing up, from the Bret Harts to the William Regals of the world, and there's a lot of similarities in our work. We're both gritty, knock down, drag them out fighters, but in the end of the day, Darius Carter, he is, a Pro Wrestling Illustrated PWI 500 year in and year out. Great, good for him. But he's never wrestled somebody like me. Somebody that is constantly evolving, somebody that is constantly getting better, studying the greats, studying what's going on around him. He likes to consider himself a chess player, but I'm sitting here playing chess as well. Darius, I am ready for every single move you make. There's nothing you could do that will surprise me.
Yeah. And guys, this is worth the price of admission. Again, we'll take a look at the flyer one more time before we move on, guys. Very excited. Kingdom Come 10, Reiman v. Carter, man, marquee match right here, and a great card all around. So very excited for that. Alex, I do want to move forward, and we'll just do this kind of chronologically. You had that long feud with Sean Donovan, in my eyes, one of the better feuds of last year, and what matches those were, and just what interactions and everything. So my hat's off to the two of you guys, and I know you guys still, have some hard feelings towards each other. We're not going to revisit that, but I do want to say this, Alex. You've kind of made that switch over to the WrestlePro crew, and I think there's a lot of value in that. Just tell us what went into that decision. We see you at Shotgun. We see you at some of the WrestlePro shows. Just anything you're comfortable sharing on that.
Through my work with Dan Moff and through Sean Donovan, WrestlePro was a place that I had been wanting to get into for a very, very long time. And it was always met with either silence or met with there's nothing for you right now. We don't really have an opportunity for you. It was always met with that. And I get it. They have a long list of talented students that come up through their Creator Pro, New Jersey and New York facilities. And I knew that it was, there was a waiting list to get in. I get that. And I waited my turn. But the moment that door cracked just a little bit, I kicked it open and I seized my opportunity, and I'm very honored to be a part of the WrestlePro roster. I think pound for pound, the WrestlePro roster is one of the best on the East Coast, and I could put it up there with the ISPW roster as well. Like, those are two of the strongest rosters on the East Coast.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Alex. And you've been getting opportunities because of this, and it's so great to see you grow. But something you've lost, another thing you've lost this year, and we'll talk about this because we do have a Steel Cage Christmas. It was that ISPW Heavyweight Championship, and you will be facing a man that you faced many times and have been trying to climb back to that mountaintop in ISPW. It will be a Steel Cage match for the ISPW Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Justin Corino, versus Alex Reiman. First and foremost, Alex, I do want to apologize. I put you in a tag match. I sanctioned it. I thought, a little strange bedfellow, have you guys on the same side of the ring for once, be great entertainment, sell some tickets, great for the fans. Did not go well for you. So I apologize for that, Alex, on my part. But guys, coming up Saturday, December 27th, perhaps things will be made right, because Alex, you do have another opportunity in a Steel Cage, 6 p.m. Parsipanny PAL, Parsippany, New Jersey. Get your tickets now at ISPWWrestling.com. Shameless promo. I'm so excited for that, Alex. Where you at? Do you want this title back? Is this the time? Steel Cage match.
I don't want this title back. I need this title back. There's two big differences in those words. Want is something you can live without. Need is something you desperately need to live. And what that title meant to me means more than professional wrestling itself. A week after my grandfather passed away, and he was a great man. If I could be an eighth of the man that my grandfather was, then my life will be a success. He gave back to himself. He gave back to the community around him, to his family, and provided for me to live my dream. He was a huge supporter of what I did, and always told me how happy he was for me, getting to go all these different places and stuff like that. And I was wrestling Justin Corino earlier this year, about a week after his passing, and I dedicated that match to him. And it was the first time that me and Justin ever got a chance to work. We had never worked in a tag match, a rumble, a fatal four-way, no shindy scramble, nothing. We had never touched in a professional wrestling ring before. And it was something that I looked forward to, because I think that Justin is one of the most underrated athletes in the game today. His resume is nothing to scoff at. He's truly one of the most talented professional wrestlers in the independents today. And it was at the time a huge honor to defend my heavyweight belt against him, and to dedicate that match to my grandfather. If he had beaten me cleanly, I would have not had a problem with it. If he had had the guts to stand in the pocket and beaten me, I would have stood up, shook his hand, and went back to the back of the line. But instead, he had to cheat. He hit me with a belt while the ref was down, because he knew I took his best shot, and I kicked out time after time after time, and he saw the window closing, and he became a desperate man. And, I'm no saint. I've taken shortcuts and stuff like that, but I like to think that I've grown past those shortcuts. I've grown as a human being, and I think that I'm able to accept defeat if I can't have victory. Unfortunately, Justin, somebody who's been in the business longer than me, isn't as mentally mature as myself. And he hit me with the belt, and he stole what was rightfully mine. And I had to go back home empty-handed. And the part that hurt the most, the part that tore at me the most, other than, losing a match under shady circumstances that I dedicated to my grandfather that passed away. My 4-year-old niece was in attendance that day, sobbing, crying because of what had happened. And that broke me. I felt like in that moment I let that little girl down, because I'm a superhero to her, and I don't take that lightly. What he stole from me was more than a belt, was more than a championship, was more than professional wrestling. He stole peace of mind from me. Now it's a mission. Now it's a goal to get back what is rightfully mine, not just for myself, but for my grandfather who can't be there to see it, but for my niece who looks up to me every day. I have to prove to her that no matter what is taken from you in this life, if you fight day in and day out and you put in the work, no one can ever take away what's rightfully yours. And Justin Corino, what you walk around with is fool's gold. You're not a champion. You're far from it. Every single time I've had you beat, you've cheated. Whether it was that match, or whether we go to Wildwood and you hit me with brass knucks, or whether we go to the casket match where you paid off the NOW, who were supposed to be pallbearers, who were supposed to close the casket when instructed to. Instead, when I had you prone and laying in a casket, seconds, inches away from taking back what is rightfully mine, they attacked. Two people that I thought were friends of mine, Hale and Vic. Two people that I, dare I say, looked up to, because I thought they were doing everything right. They have an awesome promotion, and pardon the pun, in ACW, Awesome Championship Wrestling. They're doing big things, and I looked at those two as role models. But now I look at them as dirt, as dirtbags. They're just as shindy as the rest of them.
Wow, strong words, Alex. And let's look at the positive. I like to focus on the positive here, man. And thank you for sharing all that. I know you're emotional, but you talk about family. You talk about your niece being there, your 4-year-old niece, seeing you lose that championship, which to me, and I have to say, and allow me to take off the GM hat when I say this, she needs to be there when you win that title back, and hopefully that does happen for you.
Absolutely, she will be there, and I want her to see that. I even said it. I want her to know that if you put in the work and you truly believe in something, that nothing is too big to reach, and no goal is too big in this life. If you want it, you need to work for it. And I want to set that example at a young age for her, because I want her to dream big, and I want her to chase those dreams, because I grew up, around people, not my family, but others that had told me this dream was stupid, that had told me this dream would never work out, that told me maybe I should just. I had an English teacher in high school tell me that I would amount to nothing but a burger flipper at Burger King.
Oh, I hate that. I'm a teacher, so I hate.
A sophomore year English teacher had told me that I would amount to nothing in this life. And so far, I've traveled the world doing what I love. So I want her to know that no matter what anyone says or what anyone tries to take from you, if you work hard enough and you're determined enough, no one can take that from you. That's the example I have to set. That's why this match is the most important match to me in my life. This is more than pro wrestling. This is about peace of mind for me. This is about filling a hole that you ripped away from my heart. I want to be able to win that belt and take it to my grandfather's gravesite and lay it at his grave and let him know that I did it. And let him know that, I took back what was mine. Because, Justin, when that door closes, you've got everything to lose. I've got nothing left to lose. Justin, when that door closes, you're wrestling in front of an audience of hundreds, yet maybe almost 1,000. I'm wrestling for an audience of 1. The pressure is in your hands, not mine.
Wow, very powerful stuff, Alex. And I apologize for interrupting. That you can see it struck a nerve with me because I am a teacher, man. And I like to encourage creativity with we just had our music club. The kids had like their first performance. We just had practice. It was going so well. And I love to see the kids get creative and thrive, man. And
the amount of joy. The amount of joy I had, we've talked. I'm a huge Nirvana fan. Yeah. And when you came into the locker room and you pulled me aside and you had this big old smile, man, and you're like, dude, I have to show you something. Yeah. It was your kids playing Nirvana, bro. The amount of joy, that's what this life is about, man. And I'm glad that you're doing the right thing, that you're creating those moments for those kids to look back on. And I think that those, you do an excellent job, man. What I appreciate about you is you never go, for lack of a better term, you never half-ass anything. You go all in, whether it's teaching, whether it's podcasting, whether it's, play-by-play, color commentary, or the interviews that you and I have done. You truly have built something special for independent wrestling. And I hope that everyone sees what I see. And I see one of the hardest working individuals that I've ever met. This place is a lot better with you in it, Rob.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And like I said, the same to you. I'm very bad at taking compliments. So I really do appreciate that, Alex. And certainly not to make it about me. That struck a nerve with me, though, what your teacher said to you. Like, you could see, I was like, oh, no. I got very defensive. So I apologize for that. Yeah. But
generally speaking, my school life was very positive. Good. But unfortunately, with life, you seem to always remember the very good and the very bad and forget kind of the middle. So like the very bad always sticks out in life, and I remember and it's just one of those things that anytime I feel like I can't do something, or anytime that I feel like I'm giving up, I remember if I give up, she's right.
If I give up, that motivates you more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think that was her goal. I don't think that's what she meant to do. I think that she was an awful person. I think that she meant to destroy my happiness and, kind of take away from me, because I wasn't the greatest student, man. I'm not a Harvard graduate. Let's put it that way. But, I work very hard for what I have, and, those that didn't see it, I want to prove all of them wrong, and that includes her.
And thank you for sharing that again, Alex. I do want to move on, man. We're getting very emotional talking about your family, so I did want to move on and not to make you too emotional, but talk to me about this man right here. I see him at every show. I see Alex Reiman. I see your dad there with you, man. You're #1 fan from what I've seen, man, and just anything you want to share about Pops.
So I have to say, ISPW has really given me an opportunity to remember the little kid that loved professional wrestling. Going back to a happier moment of winning that championship belt, that ISPW Heavyweight Championship belt. The reason I got into pro wrestling was because of Bret the Hitman Hart. I fell in love with pro wrestling because of the Hitman. And in attendance that day that I won the heavyweight belt was Bret Hart. And that was one of the coolest moments of my, not even my career, but my life, you know? And I remember I have the belt and I'm sore. I felt like my shoulder was out of socket. You know, Corvus had taken me down to the mat pretty violently. And I remember I hit the mat. I felt like a pop. You know, luckily there was no tear or dislocation. There was a little bit of damage to the AC joint when I had got checked out that night. But there was two moments. One of them was one you captured, when I went up and hugged my father. And then immediately I walked to the back, and behind the curtain was Bret Hart. And he said, he looked me dead in the eye and goes, "That was impressive." Shook my hand, and I didn't know what to say.
I don't think I knew this.
Yeah. And immediately I was like, "Sir, would it be all right if I got a picture with you?" He said, "Absolutely." I said, "Let me run and get my phone." And I ran as fast as I could to the locker room. I ran back, and luckily he was still behind the curtain. And I snapped a photo with him. And it's the pin photo on my Instagram that day. So not only did those two moments mean a lot to me, but that gym in Hackettstown means a lot to my family. My Uncle Al, unfortunately, he passed away in 2018 due to complications with lung disease and lung cancer. And he lived in the apartments directly behind that high school. His kid went to that high school. And then not only that, I wrestled for Wallkill Valley in that high school. So that gym itself has a lot of ties to my family. And it felt like, you know, even though my Uncle Al couldn't be there, it felt like I could feel him there. You know, it felt like a piece of him was in that gym that day. It was what pushed me to overcome 5 of the best independent wrestlers in the world today. You know, unfortunately, the circumstances of that match were not ideal. Yeah. GKM, one of the most talented wrestlers and one of the most hardworking wrestlers on the scene, got hurt. I don't ever want to see that. And I'm glad to see at Hackettstown next year in March, he'll be coming back. And I'm very happy for him. What he does have to understand, though, is things have changed since he's been gone. That heavyweight title scene is different. There's a lot more snakes in the grass than when he left. And I hope he's ready for that.
You're so good at this interview thing. You're one step ahead of me, bro. I was just going to say, it was announced today, March 13th. It's going to be a great show. And I believe I read the verbiage very carefully. I believe this is a back as in action. And I don't want to put the
I hope so.
The horse here. And again, like I said, like I always say, like, take your time, listen to the doctors. It's the most important thing. But he's been busting his, to get back.
I ran into him a few times, and he looks amazing.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah.
I thought he could eat a carb,
He made the surprise appearance at ISPW back in Totowa. At the Survivor Series match we did. And I got to chat with him a little bit there. And
there's a respect.
And also training at WrestlePro. He's dropped by a few times, obviously not be able to work out, but come in to say hi and everything. And I've got to kind of chat with him there, and he's working his ass off. I'm so happy for him. And I hope that when he comes back, I hope he's 100%, because that man deserves everything that he's worked for. Just I want him to know that things have changed. That world title scene, you're gonna have to. I'm no longer going through you. You're going through me. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fair enough. I was going to say, if you do win that title back, does he get a shot right away?
Absolutely, hands
wow,
down.
okay.
Absolutely. Okay. I don't care who's at the front of the line. As soon as he's ready, I want him to get a shot at something he never lost. And I hope, I pray, I hope it's me. I want that match. I want that match really bad. I feel like he's the type of person that deserves it.
Wow. Well, that's definitely getting clipped. And thank you, Alex, for doing that, man. You know, Gil, one of the good brothers, man, as I consider you as well, man. And I respect that, man. There's nothing more I love to see. Real quick, kind of off topic, man, but very topical. We talked about never giving up. We're talking about well, hustle, loyalty, and respect. I don't think Cena, I don't know well enough. I don't know if Cena was ever one of your guys, but was there a respect there? Any thoughts on what he's given to the business and his exit from the business? Or from in-ring competition, rather?
No one has given more to this business. And even in his exit, he was still giving to it. I never got the opportunity to meet the man. I hope that that door is not closed. I hope I do get to meet him and pick his brain and ask for advice, whether it be, 2 minutes of his time or 5 minutes of his time. That man is given so much of himself through not just magic or not just wrestling, but Make-A-Wishes and stuff like that. The amount of charity work that man has done, and like I think I remember like collecting like DVDs and stuff like that. And I collected a John Cena DVD, and Triple H said that, for as much as that man works, if someone said, "Hey, there's this kid over here," he stops immediately what he's doing and goes and gives that kid 5 minutes of his time and makes him feel like the only person in that room. That is what this business is about. Giving back to those who need something to believe in. And John was that. John was the epitome of hustle, loyalty, and respect. And I know it sounds corny and stuff like that, but that man literally gave everything and then some. I think that anyone that steps in this business should model themselves like John. He's a terrific individual from, what I know, or what I hear, and I thought his last match was beautiful, and I'm not afraid to admit I cried. I cried. Yeah. I sobbed like a fucking baby, man.
Love that.
From Lillian Garcia's introduction and knowing that that's the last time you're ever going to see that man wrestle, that's powerful, and the outpouring of respect that transcended not just wrestling, but entertainment and other sports throughout the night from, Snoop Dogg and Eli Manning and, other actors and singers and other professionals. The amount of people that were there to honor him and what he's done for the business is incredible. There was a time where he was wrestling my favorite wrestler, CM Punk, for obvious reasons. We're both straight edge. We both kind of outcasts, and so I kind of strayed away from the Cena bandwagon for a little bit. And the magic that those two created with the Money in the Bank 2011, I don't think anybody's ever told a better story than that. Like that was incredible. The roller coaster of, is he really gonna go? Is he really gonna leave? Is this contract a work? Is it, like no one knew. And I thought that was very special in an age of digital media where everything is so accessible and everyone's got a spoiler. God, I miss the 90s. I miss the 90s so much. No one knew anything. Lex Luger just shows up on Nitro, like I miss those days. You know, I caught the tail end of them, but still, like the shock and surprises of that, and to be able to pull off something like that where no one really knew, that's special. You know?
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's one of a kind, man. I do want to ask you this when we talk about the fans and the connection that the kids particularly have had with you at ISPW,
Yeah.
the connection you have with the Pro Wrestling Magic fans, and we talk about the influence of John Cena and the things that, you know, that the fans do for him to show their support for him. But you, as you continue to grow, man, and I thought this was very, very cool. Alex Reiman is now
dude, that's
in
so
Roblox.
Like, bro,
how cool is that, bro? That's
so
awesome.
That was my buddy CJ that made it. He was at the tag match with me and Justin versus the Shot Callers. And Pat Savino had to stop this boy from rushing the locker room on Justin. Yes. So I once I heard what was happening, I was very sore. I was kind of out of it. Once again, hit me with the belt. You know, had my bell rung. But once I heard what was going on, I asked, "Is CJ still here?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Tell him to wait where he's at and bring him to my merch table. I want to talk to him." And I promised that boy that on the 27th, I would make everything right again. And,
wow.
you know, and he was actually in a John Cena shirt that night, which is cool. And, you know, I told him that he doesn't have to worry about fighting my battles. I will do the right thing and I will bring what's rightfully mine back. You know, so it's funny having this connection. To kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and talk maybe about a little bit of, maybe show a little bit of vulnerability.
Sure.
I've never felt growing up that I fit in with anyone. I've always kind of felt like my presence was more of a burden to people. I've always kept a small circle because I unfortunately go about life thinking that people don't necessarily like me. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why I held that resentment towards myself of never feeling accepted. But in those moments of when I would find somebody that I became friends with, those friendships meant the world to me because I didn't have many of them growing up. And, you know, it became harder going through high school as somebody who didn't smoke or drink or party. I found out that I played two sports growing up. Mainly, I wrestled and I played baseball as well. And I really loved playing baseball. I was on varsity. Junior and senior year. Backup catcher, junior year and senior year. And my senior year, I had found out that the team had thrown a pasta party and didn't invite me. And it kind of sucked, man. It made me realize that sometimes people say they're there for you when they're not. And then going into professional wrestling, you know, I had actually stopped telling people that I wanted to be a pro wrestler because I got sick of defending it. I got sick of hearing the, "Oh, you know, it's fake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're doing that silly pro wrestling stuff. Why don't you get a real job? Why don't you, you know, have some real goals?" And so I just got sick of it. And then my senior year, I was like, you know what? Fuck this, man. This is what I want to do, you know? And once I started wrestling and I stepped foot into the East Coast Pro Wrestling Training Facility in Parsipanny, it was the first time in my life I ever felt like I belonged somewhere. It was the first time in my life where I actually felt truly accepted for who I am. I had found my island of misfit toys, man. Like, the first two people I met were, they don't wrestle anymore, but Bud and John, they were a tag team called the Fallen Angels, and they were the first two to kind of take me to shows and kind of show me what's going on and, kind of how to handle yourself going through locker rooms and stuff like that. And then I met Kenny Bengal and Sonny Kiss, who became my best friends, not just in wrestling, but in life. I know that if I lost everything and I had nowhere to go, it's 2 a.m. and I needed a place to stay, if I called one of them, they would ask where I'm at. They're coming to get me. Don't worry about anything. They've been there through my darkest moments, through heartbreaks and tragedies, through losses of family members throughout the years, through breakups with ex-girlfriends and stuff like that. And when I felt like I had nobody, I finally had those two that I could count on. And it truly meant the world to me. And you were there through the early days of my Magic run, and I did some very heinous things. I manipulated Steve's son against him. I hit people with bats and chairs and canes, and I took every shortcut that I could. And for some reason, the Magic Kingdom still accepted me. Because of my past, because of my insecurities, I was actively trying to push them away. I didn't want to feel accepted because it was foreign to me. And they still embraced me. And I can never thank them enough. And then when I came to ISPW, and I truly had a promoter there and a matchmaker that believed in the work I did in such a short amount of time. I want to give Tommy Fierro his flowers right now. That man has a heart of gold, and he doesn't let just anyone in. He's very protective of his product because this is all that man does. He eats, sleeps, and breathes professional wrestling, and that's how he makes his money. And I'm honored to be a part of that. Now, outside of professional wrestling, that man has a heart of fucking gold. I gave my body to a lot of people in this business. I bled for a lot of people in this business. When my grandfather passed away, Tommy Fierro was there. He came to the funeral. I don't know if he ever wanted that out publicly, but the amount of respect and the amount of gratitude that my family has for that man cannot be put into words. Anytime I see him, whether it's at his shop, whether it's at a show, hey, how's your family? How are they doing? How's your dad's business? Is there any way I can help? Is there any way I can help him grow his business? He doesn't have to do that. But he does that because he cares. And you don't find that in professional wrestling a lot. And his belief in myself, or his belief in me, helped me believe in myself, which I think is translating to the ISPW fan base. And the fans that come there month after month, week after week, show after show. And, dude, every time I go and my music starts, you can see everyone rise up and their hands go in the air. That high I feel when I step through the ISPW curtain because of that man. There's nothing like it, man. And I get it, man. Like, I can't thank him enough, And through him, I've built friendships through kids like CJ and stuff like that, through the Front Row Mafia, and their support throughout my Magic work and my Wrestle Pro work and my ISPW work. Like, those guys are amazing. And but like back to like the kids that come, like the fact that they believe in me gives me a reason to fight, you know. And I know I touched upon it with my niece in setting the example and setting the standard of working for what you truly believe in. It's honestly for them as well. You know, I want them to know that there's nothing in this life that they can't do, you know? And I hope that I've been able to inspire somebody the way I was inspired watching the greats on VHS and stuff like that. I hope that some kid looked at me and was like, I think I could do that too. You know, whether it's professional wrestling, whether it's music, whether it's, you know, just working, you know, a day job anywhere. You know, I hope that whatever they want to be when they grow up, I hope I inspired them. Just one person. If I inspire one person, my career is a success.
Thanks for sharing that as well. I know I keep saying that, Alex, but I really appreciate you being open and honest. And you're so good at this interview thing because you hit on what I was going to say, man, and you answered it already perfectly. Because when I did first get to know you, you were, with all due respect, a little dastardly in the ring. You did
I was not a good person.
You were not the best person. And somehow, some way, maybe it was being embraced by the fans. Maybe it's because the lessons you've learned, maybe because it's real life. The fans really endear themselves to you. And I think you have that quality that very few have in wrestling. And you can't, I know it's a catchphrase, you can't teach it. It's that intangible. Some people I know have it, some don't. You can be the best wrestler in the world, but you don't have that endearing connection to the fans. And you have that. Maybe it's the things you've gone through. Maybe it's the things you represent. I'm a straight edge as well, man. I appreciate you waving that flag, man, personally, man. And I think just people, you know, even with interviews like this, people get to know you a little bit. Maybe they've shared similar struggles that you've had. I know you and I have had some great conversations, man. So I always appreciate you opening up, Alex. But I do want to ask you, I do want to ask you this one last one, man. You have been on a tear lately, a roller coaster 2025. You have been, and I know you've used this term against some of your opponents, you've been a big fish in a small pond. So you've crossed the pond and you went to wrestle in other countries, which I absolutely love. It's like, I get it, from being an independent wrestler, you're kind of in this bubble. You need to break through that proverbial glass ceiling. And you did that. You've made local championships, world championships. You fought opponents overseas. You're fighting better caliber of opponents, man. Just looking forward. And I know I've talked to you about GCW. I've kind of seen you there in some form or fashion. AEW, I've seen you there in some form or fashion. 2026, man. I'm not big on like the whole, like, oh, it's a new year, so I'm going to change everything and just change, you know, these resolutions and stuff. To me, do it any day, you know, say, hey, tomorrow I'm going to start this, you know, I don't like defining things like that, but we'll just say 2026. What's that looking like for Alex Reiman moving forward? What are the goals?
I want to be more busy than I was this year. And I was very busy this year. I think totaled up, I've had almost 60 matches, almost 65 matches this year.
Wow.
I wrestled almost every weekend. I tallied up 5 different states this year and 4 different countries: Canada, US, Germany, and Italy. And I'm a firm believer that nobody gets better doing what they've always done. You have to challenge yourself in this. And it's like anything. You have to be uncomfortable to grow. You have to go to different locker rooms. You have to wrestle different opponents. You have to get in there with everyone. You have to, if you're the best at what you do in the room, it's time to leave that room. And that I firmly believe that, you know, and I plan on challenging myself. I've never been out west. I want to go out west, whether that's California, whether that's Washington, or whether that's Texas. I want to go to new markets and test myself, because I believe that I work hard enough to where there's nothing that I'm not ready for. With that said, I want to break through the other side. I want to make this a full-time job by the end of 2026. You know, a lot of us, you know, we're told when we start training to not talk about the day jobs and stuff like this because we're superstars. Not a lot of us are making money on this. I want to make this a full-time job. I want to really give it a go and become a full-time professional wrestler. And I want to do that in every market possible. I want to wrestle anywhere there's a ring, and that's what I plan on doing in 2026. And I want to wrestle the biggest and the best. There's nobody that's off limits. I don't think that there's anyone that matches my intensity. I think that I cut some of the best promos in the game, and I want to challenge that. It's not enough to believe in myself. I want others who don't know me to believe in me as well.
Very well.
That's what 2026 is.
Dude, I think it's going to be phenomenal for you. And just Alex, like I always say here, man, thank you for opening up with me, man. I feel like there's a trust here, and I hope I didn't ask anything too hard hitting, man.
No, dude, I think it's awesome to kind of show this side, right. A couple years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, Mike Orlando, and we were just talking about, Mike, yeah, I love Mike. Him and Allie are two of my best friends as well.
Jersey guy.
And I was actually part of their wedding party.
Oh, wow.
I think 4 years ago. Oh my God. But we were just talking, and we're kind of just shooting the shit about, our past experiences and stuff like that. We kind of had the same things going on growing up, and, and he goes, dude, you have an amazing story. You need to tell it. And I was just waiting for the right time to. And, I think what you do is amazing. I think that you have an amazing platform, and it just felt like the right time to tell my story, to kind of show the vulnerability that I've been hiding a lot. This interview wasn't easy, but it was good, not easy. Like, if that makes sense. I don't know how to really put it, but it was nice being uncomfortable for 25 minutes, 30 minutes, or however long we've been going. It's been nice to kind of show a side of me that I've hidden for a long time, because this is who I am, man. I truly want to be an open book. I want to wear my heart on my sleeve. I want to just show that I was like anyone else, man. Just a kid with a dream that wasn't supposed to make it. And here I am.
And I love that you found the misfit toys and you found where you belong, Alex, and you're doing great things. And guys, again, Saturday, Darius Carter. I pop every time I see this. Darius Carter versus Alex Reiman. It's happening. Pro Wrestling Magic, Meadowlands YMCA. Get your tickets now, Saturday, December 20th. Sponsored, of course, by our friends at Inside Heat Collectibles. And, of course, Steel Cage Christmas at the Parsipanny PAL ISPW. A steel cage match for the ISPW Heavyweight Championship. Reiman challenges the champion, Justin Corino. Alex, before we get out of here, you know what we do here on BCB Plus. We get that shameless promo and tell them where they can get the merch, get the 8x10s, support you, follow you on social media, all that good stuff.
You can always feel free to come up to a merch table at my shows. And I also have a Pro Wrestling Tees store that's located in my Instagram bio, at Revolver_Reiman on Instagram, and I believe Twitter as well. And then Alex Reiman on Facebook. That's where all my details are. And I post all my upcoming events on there. And if you want to find me, that's the place to go.
We will. Alex will definitely follow you. We'll be supporting you the whole way. Just so good to call your friend. So good to have you here, talk to you. I do owe you next time, and I promise, I'm man of my word, we will get you in studio because I owe you that. It'd be great to, just share.
In studio, and I will be holding gold.
Oh, all right. Mark his words. I like that, man. So he will be holding gold, and Gil might get the first shot. You heard it here first.
Will get the first shot. As soon as he's ready to come back, Gil, I believe he's earned the right to skip the line. There is no line. There is no line. That man never lost that belt.
Wow.
He deserves a shot.
I'm here for it. Alex, thank you for your time. Continued success, my friend. Appreciate you.
Thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, my man. And guys, like we always say here on BCB, everyone stay safe, stay positive, take care of each other.
And reach for the revolver.
BCP is brought to you by our favorite store, Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore, located in the Englishtown Flea Market in New Jersey from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays, and online at FunkensteinWrestlingSuperstore.com. Get your favorite wrestling merch, retro video games, Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, so much more. It's our favorite store. Thank you, Heather and Dan, for sponsoring the BCP. Also got to welcome back our sponsors, the No Gimmicks Podcast, the podcast that keeps it 100% real 100% of the time. Check out our guy Kelvin, only on the No Gimmicks Podcast. Wrestling All Day, All Night is the best wrestling discussion group on Facebook. We provide more of a community feel here, and have wrestling fans introduce other fans to something they may not have seen before, such as old school wrestling, indie wrestling, Japanese wrestling, and so much more. We also strive to be a source of information regarding upcoming wrestler meet and greets and signings. And remember, we're open 24/7, all day, all night. Be sure to follow on socials and join the group on Facebook at Wrestling All Day, All Night. Welcome back our sponsor, Sweet Chin Musings. Sweet Chin Musings is the creation of the reigning, rarely defending, highly disputed champion of wrestling podcast, Mr. Perfect, Mike Mueller, and his tag team partner in crime, Luke Kudialis. SCM focuses on the in-ring product of WWE and AEW, no dirt sheet rumors here, as well as backstage news, predictions, and analysis of characters, storylines, and major pay-per-views. Old school fans, don't worry, we have you covered as well, with a look back on classic matches, top 10 lists, and interactive tournaments that let the fans decide who is truly the best of all time. You can find them at Facebook at Sweet Chin Musings, and check out the podcast on all major podcast platforms. Please welcome back our sponsors on the BCP Plus and the podcast, GPW Productions. GPW provides your promotion or event with top-tier video, audio production, live streaming, and more. I can personally vouch for them in saying they are hands down the best production company I've ever worked with, as they have and continue to work with the likes of AEW, GCW, StarCast, MLW, not to mention the majority of the local independent promotions here in the tri-state area. They can even help you film a vignette or promo for your persona or gimmick. And guess what? GPW doesn't just work in wrestling. No, they cover MMA, boxing, basketball, or any other sporting event as well. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Mike Sesko, Frank Leone, O'Neil Andros, and the team for giving me multiple opportunities to work with them and some of the best talent in the world. Thank you, GPW, and guys, book GPW for your promotion or event today at contact@gpwproductions.com. Please welcome back one of our favorite sponsors, Mania Club. Established in 2015, Mania Club is a WWE-recognized community for fans with an eclectic love for both the world of professional wrestling and raising money for Connor's Cure. During WrestleMania weekend, we host the official tailgate of WrestleMania while also celebrating the life of Connor McCollum. They are the single largest donor within the V Foundation for Connor's Cure, with over 150,000 raised. Please donate and join the Facebook group over at Mania Club on Facebook. Donate at jimmyv.org/Mania Club. Guys, please welcome in our new pod sponsor for the months of May and June, J. Adam Photography. Jay provides quality, artistic, innovative photography with a quick turnaround time. Be sure to check out his latest ISPW wrestling pics and much more stellar content. Right now, wrestlers can do a special portrait shoot with Jay in Sparta, New Jersey for just $50. Contact Jay at Jay Vogel on Facebook, and be sure to follow him across socials. Thank you, Jay, for sponsoring the BCP. Guys, let's welcome in our new pod sponsor, Cooper Groove Grips. When you play Cooper Groove drumsticks, you get increased sensory feedback from your hands, so your grip will naturally loosen, but you have complete control. With that taking place, you don't have fatigue and soreness, which can lead to long-term issues. Guys, as a drummer, Cooper Groove is my drumstick of choice. Sweaty hands aren't a problem. Grip is good. Don't forget to check out their amazing Cooper Groove bats coming out soon. Guys, follow at Cooper Groove Grips on Facebook. Guys, please welcome in our new podcast sponsors, ISPW Weekly, where we dive deep into the world of ISPW, the crossroads of professional wrestling. Join Jumpin' Jay and Total with Tom every week as they interview the stars of the ring, uncover their stories, rivalries, and the electrifying action that defines ISPW. Be sure to check out ISPW Weekly on the ISPW Facebook page every week. Are you looking to press play on feeling good again? Well, Twisted Shamrock Studios and Spa, our premier sponsor here on BCP Plus, Delaware County's Retro Recovery Rebels. They're here to rewind time and reboot the way you heal. From therapeutic massage and assisted stretch therapy to glow-up facials and energy work, this is where function meets feel good. Perfect for athletes, overachievers, and everyday Joes and Janes who need real relief with a vintage twist. Not to mention pro wrestlers. Reboot your body, recharge your soul, rock the retro vibe. Call or text 484-574-8868 or visit twistedshamrocksstudiospa.com. Guys, please welcome back our returning podcast sponsor, USDN. USDN Podcast is run by USDN Chairman and the Council of Nerds. We bring you all the latest news and rumors from the world of nerds and consolidate it right here at the U.S. Department of Nerds. USDN is for the people, by the people, and of the people. Follow them at facebook.com/US Department of Nerds. Guys, please welcome in our new pod sponsor for 2025, the Ropes and Riffs podcast, featuring Maestro John Kiernan speaking with the stars of professional wrestling about their in-ring, tunage, gear, and so much more. Check out John's interviews with the likes of Lince Dorado, Mercedes Martinez, and so much more. Find the Ropes and Riffs podcast on all major podcast platforms. Guys, please welcome back our returning sponsor from the left side. Get hit from the left side with all the wrestling and sports news you can handle. Thank you from the left side for sponsoring the BCP. Please welcome our newest podcast sponsor. It's the SDN Podcast for in-depth WWE predictions, pay-per-view reviews, and insightful interviews with wrestling personalities. I highly recommend the SDN Podcast. They cover all the big events and give you expert analysis every single week. Be sure to subscribe and stay updated on everything pro wrestling. Thank you, SDN Podcast, for sponsoring the BCP. ISPW Wrestling returns to the Parsipanny PAL on December 27th in Parsippany, New Jersey for a Steel Cage Christmas, featuring the ISPW Heavyweight Championship match in a cage as Justin Corino, the champion, defends against Alex Reiman. Don't forget, the Grinch takes on Santa in a steel cage. Get your tickets now at ispwwrestling.com. Pro Wrestling Magic presents Kingdom Come 10 live at the Meadowlands YMCA in East Rutherford, New Jersey. It's going to be this Saturday, December 20th. As Alex Reiman takes on Darius Carter for the 2025 Keys to the Kingdom with appearances by Jay Lethal, Brian Cage, and more. Get your tickets now. Warriors of Wrestling returns to Brooklyn, New York at St. Peter Catholic Academy on Saturday, January 10th, as TNA superstars Alicia Edwards and Eddie Edwards are in action. 6 p.m. doors, 7 p.m. bell time, general admission $30 or front row for $35. Get your tickets now at warriorsofwrestling.com. Please welcome back our returning podcast sponsor in EM Collectibles. EM Collectibles features live signings, collectibles, toys, and more. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and stay tuned for more upcoming events. Those events including March 28th and 29th, 2026, the Syracuse Collectors Con with Mr. Anderson, American Gladiators Malibu, Diamond Blaze, and more TBA. May 2nd, 2026, the New England Fan Fest with Atom Bomb, Harvey Whippleman, the Headbangers, and the Powers of Pain.